Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
Welcome back. It is 1st and 12 right here. KSL News Radio, the KSL Sports Zone on a Sunday morning. Also reheard again on KSL News Radio in the afternoon. You can catch it from 3 to 5 if you missed any portion of it. You can also download the podcast wherever fine podcasts are found. Mitch, I was disappointed with the push that KSL News Radio put out, and I think it didn't help BYU's efforts. When the kickoff happened yesterday, the push notification to my phone is BYU looks to eclipse TCU. Wank. And I went, you know what? BYU deserves to lose 44-11 after that. You can't do that. No, it's not like I think you put the push out, but I thought, oh my goodness. Sure enough, though, yesterday we're watching kids' football games, and that eclipse was there were kids on the field staring at the sun, and I thought, what have come over our youth? And the referees are like, don't look at the sun. It was the weirdest thing. Don't look at the sun, kids. They told you not to do it. So maybe that's what the BYU has that as an excuse for yesterday. All right, let's look ahead. Lots of scheduling, of course. Lots of games. Again, this thing just keeps going. This is why conference play is amazing, because if you're BYU and you had a game like you did, nothing better than the balm of being able to go out and go, hey, let's beat Texas Tech at home and maybe get things back on track again. And honestly, things get right with the world again when you win, Mitch.
That they do. And BYU will kick it off against Texas Tech this week, 5 p.m. on KSL News Radio, FS1 TV broadcast.
Nice.
You'll have pregame going at around 4 o'clock on the KSL Sports Zone. I'm going to get things started at high noon, extended pregame. It's like a Super Bowl coverage for BYU Texas Tech here on KSL News Radio. But we've got you covered for an important game for BYU, because all these opportunities, you got to get to a bowl game. That's got to be the goal, Alex. I think Cougar fans out there listening, if you're trying to set what should expectations be, just get to 6. The chase for 6 wins. You see how – I know that sounds underwhelming because you want more. BYU's got a winning tradition. They've got great success over the last 5 decades.
Yeah.
But just get to 6 in this first year in the Big 12, because this league, anything can happen. And if you can find a way to carve out at least 2 more wins, that's an accomplishment. And I think this is one of those games you've got to get, because with Texas and Oklahoma still on the schedule, those opportunities are dwindling, Alex.
Yeah, and I'll say, too, when we started to look at during our postgame yesterday about this very topic, because then you start to look around and you go, okay, in these next 6 games here, where does BYU get these 2? And it's like, you better freaking steal that one from Texas Tech in Provo. You better make it close against Iowa State. You better go to Oklahoma State and try to get the Cowboys on Thanksgiving weekend, because Texas at Texas and Oklahoma and Provo are going to be absolutely difficult games. Yeah. And West Virginia at West Virginia, that now has become a difficult game. So now you're right. Every week it's like wringing your hands going, how are they going to pull that one out? But obviously that's the big one for next week for BYU fans. But let's go to what the rest of the conference looks like. UCF and Oklahoma getting things started off early. That's an ABC game. And UCF, I wouldn't imagine they'd be the ones to shock Oklahoma. But at this point, considering how the league has gone, I have no idea what to think about this game, Mitch.
That would be epic, Big 12. Brett Yormark would be celebrating. The offices in Irving would be just thrilled to see UCF knock off Oklahoma, but it's not happening.
Okay, fine.
Baylor at Cincinnati, another first-time matchup. UCF Oklahoma is also a first-time meeting. Baylor at Cincinnati, 10 a.m. on ESPN+. That's an interesting game from 2 teams that are looking to get a much-needed win.
Yeah, something's got to give. And Baylor has been awful at home, and now they have to actually go out on the road, which is like something that they haven't had to do much of yet so far in this young season. Cincinnati's lost 4 in a row. They're going to look to try to get right, and Baylor might be the ones who suffer at the hands of the Bearcats. Oklahoma State at West Virginia. This looked early in the season before we even started the year up. It's going to be an auto win for Oklahoma State, but no. this should be one of those that should actually be a really, really good game. These two teams, in terms of our rankings, they're right there by each other, and Oklahoma State might be the one who has the edge this week. I could see the odds makers putting that one up in there early for Oklahoma State just because they've kind of got a little bit of a streak going on here, and West Virginia's coming off of that weird loss to Houston.
I never thought I'd be saying this, but Texas is going to be playing a game at Houston again. First time since 2002, Texas is facing off against the Houston Cougars. 2 p.m. on Fox. Any chance you think Holgerson and the Cougs threaten Texas in this old Southwest rival?
Stop it, okay?
Any chance?
No. In fact, I'll tell you right now, Texas is actually offended by this game. I'm not kidding. You know it. Having just a little bit, having lived there myself as a kid, Texas does not play nice with other people who are not in the same conference as you, and especially going to your stadium.
They call it Cougar High at Houston.
Yes.
They haven't been there since 2001, and I read stories that the bleachers broke, and they fell. The extra bleachers that Houston brought into the stadium, some of them broke, and it was a safety hazard, and Texas swore they would never go to Houston again.
Funny how that works. That works. And now they're conference mates at least for one season, and you got to put up with it, and so got to do it. I would imagine Texas is going to roll in that one. TCU going to Kansas State. It's the Battle of the Purple this next week here. Mitch, that's on ESPN2 at 5 o'clock next week. Big
12 championship rematch. So that should be a fun game after two teams get big wins, and they might have two freshman quarterbacks starting.
It's going to be a fun one. Lots of good games next week. And despite the 44-11 loss, I still love doing this show with you on Sundays.
Absolutely.
So it's a fun time. Our producer, Eric, who's hitting the buttons in Salt Lake City, we appreciate the work he does as well.
And
yes,
Eric gave us intel that he might be, working behind the scenes on that Big 12 is hard remix.
Big 12 hard. Big 12 hard.
So,
let's go. All right. And look, Eric, it's up his alley, I would say. So
yes.
So for Eric, for Mitch, I want to say thanks for joining the show. You can always download the podcast. Listen to us every Sunday morning on KSL News Radio and on the KSL Sports Zone. And also download the podcast wherever you can find it. And let's get it going. For Mitch, I'm Alex. We'll see you next time, everybody.